Welcome to day 2. So I just read this article. About how some scientists had done a study that showed that mental decline began in the late 20s of all of these subjects. Like they had about 2,000 people between the ages of 18 and 60, and they tested all of their like cognitive development and their memory and their ability to memorize facts and then recite them. The headline of the article was, your mental abilities begin to slow down in the late 20s. And that's kind of like, oh my gosh, that's really pretty scary to think about. And then when you read the article, it's like, well, it finds out that it can begin as early as the late 20s. And really, there's not really anything wrong with you until you start to get older. Like we all already knew. Like when you turn 45, you start to forget some things. Like everybody knew that. And I guess it's so dumb to just read the survey like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And then it tells me a bunch of stuff that was pretty much already commonly accepted. I want to believe that these surveys are like doing good things. And when we do all these huge scientific studies that cost all these research dollars and do all these things. But when you publish articles that say one thing in their title, and then in the actual article, they're just kind of like, well, this told us some okay stuff. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really instill a whole lot of confidence in what these people are doing. I can't speak from experience and say that, oh, I know what this is and it's great and da-da-da-da-da. So, maybe somebody's going to get on here and totally flame me for not knowing what I'm talking about. But when, the New York Times writes an article that just doesn't really seem to tell me a whole lot that I didn't already know about getting older, it makes me think that there wasn't really a whole lot of point to this. Like, what are we finding out? Part of me is just really not skeptical, but just kind of like, I guess I sort of have accepted this idea that there's a natural order of things, and as you get older, you're going to start forgetting some things, and especially if, maybe that runs in your family, maybe you're going to lose a couple steps. My grandmother is 84. She's not as sharp as she was. She's still pretty funny. My nose itches so bad. That's just something that I've kind of come to accept, that when you get older, you just lose a little bit off the top and you just keep going. And I don't know, maybe that's a really morbid way to think about things, but when I think about improving my quality of life, I think about the things that I can do to make the time that I have good, and not about how do I prolong the time that I should have. And if the time that I have is 80 years and the last 10 years of those 80 are going to be a little bit foggy, maybe that's the way it should be.